So friends, what we saw at today's January 6th committee hearing was proof. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump committed multiple felony crimes in his determination to unconstitutionally retain the power of the presidency. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So I had the pleasure and the privilege of attending today's January 6th House Select Committee hearings in person. And I have to tell you, friends, the case against Donald Trump, the evidence of his crimes is devastating. It's definitive. It's overwhelming. It's conclusive. But rather than summarize the evidence that was laid out in this 2.5-hour hearing, I want to try to use some of the words of the committee members themselves, what they said, how they characterized the evidence of Donald Trump's guilt. Now, some of it is going to be paraphrased because I was sitting in the committee room feverishly taking notes because there was so much evidence of Donald Trump's crimes. Let me start with some of what Republican Liz Cheney said. The central person responsible for January 6th is one man, Donald Trump. He had a premeditated plan to declare the election was fraudulent and stolen before Election Day. Knowing that his supporters were angry, knowing that his supporters were armed, Donald Trump sent them to the Capitol. Consider, can America survive another 246 years absent accountability? Representative Zoe Lofgren. The premeditated plan by Donald Trump was to declare victory before the votes were even counted. Indeed, it was a premeditated plan to declare victory regardless of the vote count. Representative Adam Kinzinger, who talked about the legal challenges in court that were unleashed by Donald Trump, brought by his corrupt lawyers like Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. According to a Michigan judge, the legal challenges brought by Trump's lawyers were, quote, a historic and profound abuse of the judicial process. Trump pursued a completely unlawful effort to ignore the law and stay in power. Representative Elaine Luria. Donald Trump was personally and directly involved in the corrupt plan to overturn the election. His intent was to deceive. And as one of the most compelling examples of Donald Trump's corrupt intent, Trump told his DOJ officials he didn't care if there was no election fraud, quote, just say the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republicans in Congress. Representative Adam Schiff then surveyed some of the evidence that proved Donald Trump knew there would be violence on January 6th. And then Representative Pete Aguilar. The White House had more than enough warning, information, intelligence that there would be violence. More than enough evidence to stop the march on the Capitol. But instead of stopping the march to the Capitol, Donald Trump told his angry and armed supporters to march on the Capitol and stop the certification, stop the steal. And friends, we also know that after Donald Trump was told, was briefed, was informed that some of the people in the crowd were armed with pistols and rifles and other weapons, knowing that, Donald Trump said, I don't care, take down the metal detectors, let them in. They're not here to hurt me. And then once they're in, we will all march to the Capitol. And friends, the J6 committee showed new dramatic footage of people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer placing frantic phone calls, trying to get someone to send reinforcements to the Capitol to protect the people in the Capitol from Donald Trump's angry, violent foot soldiers. We saw them placing calls to Virginia Governor Northam, Maryland Governor Hogan, D.C. Mayor Bowser, to the Department of Justice, to the Department of Defense. They were saying, if the Pentagon was under attack, if the White House was under siege, you would send reinforcements. Send reinforcements to the Capitol. And Donald Trump wouldn't. Donald Trump wouldn't call off the attack that he launched. Donald Trump wouldn't send any law enforcement resources to the Capitol to protect the people in the Capitol. And then we also heard that within 10 minutes of Donald Trump tweeting that Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what he needed to do, within 10 minutes of that tweet, barricades were breached, the Capitol was overrun. And friends, that only begins to scratch the surface of the evidence presented by the J6 committee today. Oh, and at the end of the hearing, the committee voted unanimously to subpoena Donald Trump. Let him come in and explain himself. Let him come in and defend himself. You know he can't. You know he won't. Because there is no weaker or more cowardly man in America than Donald Trump. And friends, I know that sometimes it seems like it's never going to happen. But justice will come for Donald Trump. It will. And justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.